Welcome to the Raven's Call podcast. My name is Stefan and I'm your host. You can find all my work on Instagram. My handle is ravenscall_BE. That is ravenscall, one word, _BE. And you can also find all my music on all major platforms and YouTube. Same name, Raven's Call. Thank you. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of this podcast, where we dive deep into the ancient wisdom of the Norse myths, exploring the gods, runes, and the stories that shaped our ancestors' world. Today we will be unraveling the tangled web of Loki, specifically the fascinating link between Loki's name and the concept of a lock. Loki, the notorious trickster of Norse mythology, is one of the most enigmatic figures amongst the gods. Known for his cunning, shape-shifting, and chaotic antics, Loki defies easy categorization. But did you know that even his name hints at his role in the grand tapestry of the cosmos? Let's delve into the roots of his name and discover what it tells us about the nature of boundaries, traps, and the unending cycle of binding and release. So, Loki's name has puzzled scholars and enthusiasts alike for centuries. The origins are elusive, much like the god himself. The most compelling theory connects Loki's name to the Old Norse verb luka, meaning to close or to lock. This word is closely related to the English word lock, which shares the Proto-Germanic root luka, carrying the same meaning of shutting, fastening, or confining. Now, you might be wondering, what does locking or closing have to do with Loki, the god of mischief? As we dive deeper, we will see how this connection is not just linguistic, but deeply symbolic, echoing through many of Loki's actions in the myths. Loki's character is defined by his manipulation of boundaries, whether it's the boundaries of truth, the lines between gods and giants, or even the fragile balance of order and chaos. Just as a lock can secure or trap, Loki's actions often involve entanglement, confinement, and the blurring of lines. He is the agent of change who locks others and sometimes himself into unforeseen situations. Take, for example, the myth of Baldur's death. In this tragic tale, it is Loki who engineers the one fatal flaw in Baldur's invulnerability by guiding the blind god Herder to shoot the mistletoe dart. This act locks the gods into a cycle of grief, setting off a chain of events that would eventually lead to Ragnarok. Loki's manipulation here is like a lock that secures the fate of the gods, binding them to a destiny they cannot escape. But it's not just others that Loki locks into trouble. Consider the tale of his binding, where the gods, finally fed up with his schemes, capture Loki and bind him with the entrails of his own son, Narfi. Narfi's name itself is loaded with dark significance. One interpretation of his name suggests it means narrow or confined, reflecting the theme of restriction and the inevitability of Loki's punishment. Narfi's very name seems to foreshadow his role in the myth, becoming a symbol of the narrow, confining fate that Loki cannot escape. Alternatively, Narfi's name might mean corpse or dead one, derived from the Old Norse word nar. This interpretation fits disturbingly well with the grim turn of events. Narfi is torn apart by his brother Vali, who is transformed into a wolf. The gods then use Narfi's entrails to bind Loki to a rock, where he remains trapped under the venomous gaze of a serpent until Ragnarok. So, these interpretations of Narfi's name, whether as narrow or dead one, both resonate deeply with the themes of binding and inescapable fate that surround Loki's story. Narfi, the narrow or confined, reflects Loki's own confinement. The death implicit in his name mirrors the death of freedom and the tightening grip of destiny. Just as a lock closes a door, these meanings suggest how every action in the myth seems to narrow the gods' options, locking them step by step into a tragic path. Loki's relationship with Lok goes beyond mere punishment. It symbolizes his dual nature as both a creator and a destroyer of boundaries. He is the lock that closes one chapter and opens the door to another, representing the unending cycle of constraint and release. And Narfi's role as both son and sacrificial component in this binding adds another layer. Even Loki's offspring are locked into this destiny of death and confinement. Yet, Loki's confinement isn't eternal. He breaks free, leading the charge of chaos at Ragnarok, the great twilight of the gods. This release mirrors the nature of locks themselves, temporary barriers that, in time, can be opened. Just as a lock can be picked, broken, or eventually rushed away, Loki's bindings are not the end but merely a pause before the next act of the cosmic play. So what can we learn from this connection? Loki's link to the concept of a lock teaches us about the fluid nature of boundaries in life. We all face moments where we feel trapped or bound by circumstances. But as Loki's tales remind us, every lock has a key and every confinement holds the potential for change. Just as Loki's name suggests closing, it also implies the possibility of opening, showing us that chaos, like life itself, is never truly locked away. So, thank you all for joining me on this journey into the bound and unbound nature of Loki. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow me on your favorite podcast platform and share your thoughts with us on Instagram at ravenskull_be. Again, ravenskull, one word, _be. Until next time, travelers, may you find the keys to every lock in your path. Hail to all of you. Bye for now.